So yesterday we had Dynamite, and this was the third installment or episode, if you will, of AEW's program on Wednesday nights. And I gotta say, man, it's just really good to be able to have brand new, fresh wrestling that feels exciting again. And I can't stress that enough. It gives the fans like myself, another option, another viable option. And it's beautiful to see the amount of talent that is getting a chance. This is talent that I don't think we would have ever known. I definitely would have known about Private Party, and especially after this last episode, Private Party they're an elite tag team now. I mean, they can work so well with the Young Bucks, and then you work them with the Lucha Brothers, and it was just as mind-blowing and energetic, and just I couldn't believe it. I could not believe, and that was the show. That was the start of the show, and that match meant something. That's another thing. These matches mean a lot. That match in the beginning meant so much because that is the semifinals to get to the finals to become the first ever tag team champions of AEW, and that is in itself like, wow, this is the way we're starting off the show. Okay. And the Pittsburgh crowd, I got to give you a ton of props, man. The way you guys were just loud and just exuding energy. I mean, I could feel it coming out of the speakers. You guys were loud. You made yourselves known, and it just amplified every single match. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but if you're a performer in anything, it could be a performer in wrestling, it could be a performer on stage, you could be performing, you could be actually playing football, whatever it is. If you're a boxer and the crowd is just going fucking bananas for you, you feed off of that. The adrenaline starts rushing, and you can do things now much more energetically. It was amazing. It was fantastic. So that's how I felt about the opening of AEW, and that little bit about my that little rant going off of what AEW is doing currently to the industry and how it's affecting it positively is already extremely commendable. The way Cody Rhodes has been able to kind of break the mold and reshape himself and reinvent himself into the Cody Rhodes that we now know today. I mean, it's a metamorphosis that I still can't believe happened, and it happened pretty quickly too. I think it was over the course of 2 years. Next thing you know, or 4 years. And the next thing you know, they're doing this AEW thing. Chris Jericho, he reinvented himself. Jon Moxley, wow, that was like jarring how quickly he was able to reinvent himself. And that's the thing, man. These wrestlers are rolling the dice and taking a chance on themselves because they all believe in themselves, and they're putting it out on display for us to watch every Wednesday, and now I guess on Tuesdays as well with AEW Dark. I mean, Darby Allin, that's another guy. Would we have known? Would we have known that he exists? Imagine a guy like Darby Allin in WWE. I don't think you can. And the Best Friends, they would have been a joke in the WWE. Just pick any wrestler, and they would have been a joke. But in AEW, they're slowly starting to rise up the ranks and show the audience just what they're made of. And I mean, it's really good stuff. So I want to start off by talking about some of the matches, and I'm going to go by this real quick. I really enjoyed, obviously, the Lucha Brothers versus Private Party. I think Private Party stock continued to rise, even though they lost in that match. We all know the Lucha Brothers are the Lucha Brothers, and they're amazing. But to see Private Party, squaring up with the Lucha Brothers the way they did and giving them a run for their money was pretty awesome. And they're still young, and the Lucha Brothers are veterans, and you can tell even at the end of the match, like these guys are just, there's too much experience there. Private Party still has some ways to go. However, having said that, they're obviously a great talent, and AEW's fans have taken note of that. The following match was an AEW Tag Team Championship Tournament semifinals match also, which was SCU, which is Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian, versus the Dark Order. And that also was, and it's a very different kind of match. And that's the thing, is that Lucha Brothers and Private Party, those guys are spot machines. I'm not saying that Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian aren't, along with the Dark Order, but I think what happened with this match is when the Dark Order came out, you had a different dynamic. You have one side, two wrestlers who just they're not really buying, they're not really reacting to them, whereas Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian are clearly over with the crowd. And something happened in that match. By the middle of the match, the fans started to pick up their chants, the tempo started picking up, and Dark Order really started showing us one hell of a show, along with Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian. And next thing you know, like, they're just blowing us away yet again at the end of that match. I mean, the crowd was going wild. I remember this is awesome chants happening towards the end, and Frankie Kazarian and Scorpio Sky scored the win, which was obviously fantastic. And now we're going to get SCU versus the Lucha Brothers for the first ever crowning of the tag team champions in AEW. And that is a match I really cannot wait to watch. I'm going to move along. Kenny Omega defeats Joey Janela in another match. And this is a different type of match because Joey Janela has been showing us that he is a hardcore kid who puts his body out on the line, and there's weapons and mayhem and just vicious spots, usually in his matches, but he can still work a technical match as well. And who better to wrestle than Kenny Omega, guy who is larger than life. Joey Janela is still starting to find his footing, and the crowd clearly was trying to get behind Joey, but you can't get against Kenny as well. It was a fun match, and I got to say, Joey Janela is still, even though he lost, he continues to get people behind him. And Kenny Omega, you know, seeing his record, he was like 1-2 or 1-3 going into this match, and now he won another one, so now he's got 2 wins on his belt, which is good because Kenny was in a little bit of a slump, and now to see that he's starting to work his way back is kind of cool. And that's another thing that AEW has implemented into their organization, where every match they want you to feel like it matters. And in this particular instance, you know, you see Kenny Omega and Joey Janela coming out, and I had this thought where I'm like, oh man, Joey Janela, I kind of want him to win, but man, I really don't want Kenny to fall to like 1-4. That's not good. And so this match I was having that little, I guess, thought process in my head where I'm like, this match kind of matters. Like, both of these guys need a win. Joey Janela I don't think he's won anything yet. And then you got Kenny Omega, who really needs a win as well. So, like, this could hurt them in the long run if you see a wreck. Because let's say you're tuning in for the first time, and you see a guy, Joey Janela, like, who is this guy? And then you see his record underneath, like, this guy sucks. That's what some fans are going to think who are new to this product. And that's why I was thinking, you know, Kenny Omega kind of needs to get this win. Joey Janela also really needs this win. And I kind of feel I don't want any of them to lose. So then I was kind of keeping my fingers crossed for a draw. But obviously we want to see someone come out a victor in this match. And ultimately it was Kenny Omega. And I got to give him props. It was a fantastic match. Kenny Omega still is one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Joey Janela is slowly jumping into the top 5 for me, and I know that's not a very that's not an opinion a lot of people like, but Joey Janela, I don't know, I got a soft spot for him. He's a great wrestler and a great talent, and I hope he keeps progressing. Now I'm going to move on. We got the Young Bucks versus the Best Friends. Here is a match, obviously, where you got the Young Bucks, who are amazing storytellers. They know how to work the crowd. They are explosive. And the Best Friends, who the crowd seems to like now. And I thought it was perfect with, Orange Cassidy in the ring. And the Young Bucks pretty much were kind of shitting on him. And the fans, they booed him. The Young Bucks got those fans to boo them. And Orange Cassidy, my God, he is an amazing... that gimmick is perfect. I want more of that gimmick. I can't get enough of it. I know it's going to get stale eventually, but you know what? Until we get there, it's just smooth sailings. I love watching it. Him doing all of his weirdness. Fantastic. Now, the best friends, there was a moment, and I think this moment perfectly encapsulates why I love AEW and why I think AEW is ultimately doing something very positive for the wrestling industry. It's making it fun again. It's invigorating it. It feels fresh. There was a moment where Chuck Taylor from Best Friends, he doesn't move outside the ring, and he turns to the camera. And I don't know if everyone remembers this, but there is a moment he turns to the camera, and the camera's right in his face. He is smiling, and he goes, "Hi, Mom." Now, I know that that's, silly, whatever, but the fact that, his mother probably was watching that match because, the Best Friends aren't always going to be on television. And, I'm sure that he's tune in. His family, his friends tune in when I'm on. They're watching him. He does the hello, Mom. In a way, I was like, dude, honestly, his mom's probably watching that. And that was a really, really cool moment. And that's just something that WWE will not let you do. They won't let their talent do that. Absolutely not. In fact, if they do, they're going to get fined heavily. Whereas Chuck Taylor had a real moment, did it right in front of the camera. I was watching at home, and I know that I was like, I wonder if his mom's actually watching this. And if she is, that's kind of a cool moment. And then I was thinking, if he did that in WWE, that cool moment would have turned into a disaster for him. Would they have fined him? Maybe. Would they have buried him the next week? Absolutely. And that would have been the end of Chuck Taylor's career for a while. He would have probably been jobbing and being a little bitch for one of the guys that they're pushing in WWE. And that's one of the things where I'm like, see, that doesn't mean a lot. It's just such a small thing that just in a way encapsulates the AEW effect, if you will, where they're letting wrestlers be who they want to be. Be yourself. Be yourself and go out there, and that's what the fans will see. And honestly, I saw it, and I'm like, I really appreciated that moment. I thought that was a really nice moment, and that is something I wanted to share with you guys as well. I think it should be praised, to be honest with you, because that's a small thing that they're just letting their wrestlers go out there, man. Have fun. Don't forget to have fun. And anyways, that was a good match. The Young Bucks ended up scoring the victory and then accepted the challenge from Ortiz and Santana for a match at Full Gear. And we're off to the races, man. Then you got Britt Baker coming out, and she defeats Jamie Hayter via submission with the lockjaw. And honestly, that match was fun. Britt Baker is a hometown hero. She's from Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh crowd loved him. They were behind her, and showed her support. It was a good match. I think Jamie Hayter did a fantastic job, really selling the fact that she was such a mean person and shitting on the crowd. And she even tried grabbing signs that were pro Britt Baker and tried to rip them out of fans' hands, telling them to go fuck themselves. I was like, this is kind of cool. I like that. It was a good, cute match. And then followed by the main event, which was with Jon Moxley and Pac, which was, obviously, when those two guys go in the ring, it's going to be a fucking slobber knocker. And it was. But it, obviously, it made the time limit, and the time expired, so they had to say, the match is a draw. And Jon Moxley and Pac both had a draw together, so nobody got a loss. So that's good. And that it's, there's still unfinished business there. And that's kind of setting up things for the future, which is really cool because it's showing that Jon Moxley and Pac are really comparable to each other. They're on that same level. And it was a fun match, and I can't wait to see how they end up burying that hatchet, or not hatchet. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but I can't wait to see how that storyline ends between the two of them, because they're going to have some kind of follow-up to this match. And so listen, this was on Wednesday. It was a great program. I enjoyed it. It really is highlighting the wrestling. It's showing you that, this is how we let our wrestlers just shine. We let them cut loose. Obviously, you want to be protected. Everybody, they're firing on all cylinders right now. I can't wait to watch next week. It is very exciting to watch AEW. And more importantly, it's exciting to see the wrestling community start to expand, because I really was kind of like a lukewarm fan of wrestling. I did watch my indie wrestling, but now to watch these guys really taking it to the mainstream and trying to expand the universe of wrestling fandom is quite fun to watch, and I cannot wait for more of this. So I was Brian the Mark. This was a new formatted episode here on the Crooked Bridge Wrestling Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. I will be doing more of these in the future. It is a lot of fun to do. I enjoy talking about wrestling, as I'm sure you guys enjoy talking or listening to wrestling in general. So, if you guys have anything to add, please let me know in the comments section below. Let me know what kind of things you want me to cover in the future. If you guys want me to, I'm going to try to do some news, but I really want to just talk about every Wednesday night Dynamite, because it's honestly I wish I could talk to somebody, and this is my way to do it. And I really appreciate you guys listening, but I'll leave it like that. I'll see you all next time here on the Crooked Bridge Wrestling Podcast here on YouTube. And you guys all take care.